Okay, so my Coleman UT400 would not start. So the first thing I did is check for a spark. That's the easiest thing to do. Pull the spark plug boot off. You can stick a screwdriver in it. Stick a screwdriver in the boot when you pull it off there and hold it close. Hold it by the handle. Hold it close to the metal and turn the key. If it's getting a spark, you will see the spark arc to the metal. Mine was getting a spark. The problem was I was not getting fuel. That's the second step to check. Okay. So what was happening, I wasn't sure if the fuel pump was bad or if the wiring was bad or a relay somewhere. So what I had to do is I had to pull this whole fuel pump out to find out which side is the positive and negative going to the fuel pump. It turns out on mine, the very left wire here is your positive feed, and the very right wire is your negative feed. They must have some type of Chinese relay set up to both sides because I didn't really have a good negative and I didn't have a good positive. So what I had to do is run an actual negative. Over here, you can see on the left side, I ran a negative to the frame. And then I tied in a wire to feed positive. And I just kind of rerouted it through this whole contraption here. Okay, so the positive wire comes in. I bought a relay at AutoZone. It also has a ground here, and then you also need a ignition controlled wire. I have it controlled into the cigarette lighter fuse. So when you turn the ignition on, it triggers this relay to close the connection between the positive here and the other wire down at the bottom is going to the pump. Now, that's the package to the relay I put. I got it at AutoZone. Feeding the relay, I bought this inline fuse holder. So what will happen is when you turn the key on, that way you want the fuel pump to be controlled by the ignition switch. You can hear it running right now. Starts right up. Inside the fuse box here, there were about 6 fuses and a bunch of what they call non-serviceable relays. It was too much work to try to pull it apart and figure it out. So I thought the better way to do it is to just put an aftermarket relay, run the aftermarket wire, and run my own electrical circuit. Hopefully everything will be good now. I have about 450 miles on it. I've owned it almost a month. I had forgot to mention earlier that when you make these connections here, you want to cut the wire, the stock wires on both the negative and the ground, and just cut them off back here, tape it up real good. Make sure when you cut them, you leave yourself enough room to tie into those wires going into this connector here. But yeah, I would definitely cut the existing wire completely off. You don't want to backfeed that Chinese board. You may possibly damage something. Hope the video helps. If you would, please like it. It may help somebody else.